Okay, here I am, Tom Conley. So great to be with you guys this morning. I'm your field marketing manager. I'm based out of Chicago. I'd like to introduce my peer. This is Bill Colodi. He works with me. He's out of Louisville. He's my peer, and he works on Fargo and Minot. So his style's a little bit different than mine, but I think he's a really bright guy, and I'm happy to have him working on the team. So if you catch him over lunch or what have you, ask him a few questions, see if you can catch me in any lies, that kind of thing. That's good. All right, so what's my first slide going to be? You guys should know. Oh, that's my first slide. So my first slide is going to be about food safety, right? And really important stuff. And guys are like, well, Tom, your first slide is always about food safety. And you know when it's not going to be about food safety? Is when people stop dying from it, okay? And you look at the little chart up here, it says 1 in 6 Americans have a problem with it, 48 million people, 128,000 are hospitalized, 3,000 are dead, okay? Really important stuff. The guys in this room, the guys who are engaged, the guys who follow the business, multi-unit owners, I know this is top of mind for you guys. And I talked to you guys about this last December. The thing I thought about it when I put this slide together is like, how many new employees have we hired since last December? 1,000? A couple thousand? Is it top of mind to those guys, okay? Is it top of mind to the kids who are working nights and weekends when they know the field consultants aren't coming in, and they know you guys aren't coming in? Let's make sure it's top of mind for those guys also, okay? All right, important stuff. Let's go from here. So what's kind of my overview of my presentation? And if you guys need to make phone calls or something, certainly you can leave, because here's some really top line important stuff we're going to talk about. Hey, 2014 has been a challenging year, locally and nationally. Okay? Important stuff, difficult for us. We're going to talk about some of the reasons why. And beyond weather, let's face it, it's been a really terrible bit of weather, nationally, terrible bit of weather here in the first quarter. But beyond that, we've got systemic challenges that are affecting us, specifically the subway system. We've got guys coming out there, we've got some external challenges, guys coming after us with this red ingredient tax, and you'll see some details on how we're going to go out there and start pushing against it. And as soon as May 1st, we're out there starting to push on it now. You'll see some of the details of that plan. I'm pretty excited about that. And then we've had some long-term focus on lower price subs. That was internal. That was us. We had a circular firing squad going after each other. Like, oh, let's all talk about low price subs. Guess what? We're going to sell a bunch of low price subs. Let's change the dynamics there, and that's us. We've got competitive threats from other sub chains. We're going to talk about all these little guys coming in there after us. Some newer guys that are becoming more and more on our radar screen is the upper scale grocery chains. Here in the Twin Cities, you've got Barley's. We're going to talk a little bit about those guys. And then the C-store guys, I think, are another tough competitor for us in terms of what they do with beverages, what they do with food, and how they're trying to take their game up in terms of quality. I think they're a tough competitor there. And so the whole kind of idea of my conversation is how do we get the momentum back? And I think the whole day-to-day is talking about that. A lot of things on customer service, important stuff, okay? All right, so let's see what's happening out here. So we're going to talk about industry performance, so we see how we fit versus everybody else. We're going to talk about competitive update, what's going on out there. Okay, that makes sense. And then we're going to talk about your guys' specific sales results for full year 2013 and how you're doing year-to-date. And once in a while, the cocktail party, which I always stay for. Once in a while, people come up and they say, Tom, you seem pretty energized to talk about this stuff. Why? Why does this matter to me? I think about the data we look at like a pilot looks at his cockpit. This is telling me what's going on, what's happening out there. Do I have to make some adjustments to my flight pattern? Or are things really bad, I got to jump out of the plane? Okay? It's really important stuff. And I find the subway system is a really unique organization where strategically we're kind of led from the bottom up. Because I think a lot of you guys who come on these multi-unit owner calls, you share your feedback, you think about strategic directions, and the guys in Milford go, oh, that's a good idea, let's head that way. In other organizations, it's from the top down strategically, but here it's from the bottom up. So that's why I think it's important to talk to you guys about strategic initiatives out there. Okay, so let's see what's happening. So get your thinking cap on. You've had your coffee this morning, some Red Bull, or whatever it takes to get you going. But I always like to start off with a non-subway question. So here it is, according to the 2013 census, what is the per capita income in Minnesota? Okay, so get your voting devices ready. That's your hand. So, okay, who thinks it's number 1? You see your choices there? Okay, we get a couple guys. Good. Who thinks it's number 2? So, a bit more. Who thinks it's number 3? All right, so you're like, oh, we're in Minnesota. We have so much money. Think about Hennepin, the takers. Here's your actual numbers on this, okay? So, U.S. 28. Okay, that makes some sense to me. And then South Dakota, I threw it in there. And when I thought about South Dakota, I thought, man, we got a lot of fracking going on out there. I thought it'd be a higher number, frankly. But it's a small population, and yet it's that number right now. I wonder what it's going to be in 5 years. I like the United States, very dynamic economy, things going up, things going down, really important stuff. And yeah, here in Minnesota, I always think of you guys as being above education, above average education, above average sophistication, those kind of things. We've got technology, we've got healthcare, lots of different industries here in Minnesota. Okay, so let's go from here and talk about some stuff on restaurants. So take a look at this slide, and it was built for the guys who look at this nationally. And they're out there, they're looking at a series of different restaurant chains. They're like, hey, here's the headline. 2014 has been very challenging for restaurants. So yeah, the first quarter has been really challenging. And so they'd like me to click on to the next slide. But I looked at this slide and I said, hey, what this says to me, or the question I have in my mind, is, hey, this was really challenging for restaurants, also for the industry. Where were our sales in 2008 and 2009? Outstanding sales results, okay? So yeah, the industry is challenged, but we had great results there. Great results in 10, 11, 12. Now we had really good weather in 12, but great results. So we've got some unique challenges happening out here. Yeah, lots of the industry is having problems, but we got to think about the unique challenges for us, okay? All right. So then we take a look here at some Crest. And we'll take a look out here and say, hey, what's happening in terms of what's the headline? Within QSR, quick service restaurants, PM snack growth continued, traditional day part suffered. So here's PM snack, it's only 60% of the pie. And here is, these are by quarter, and then we got a couple months thrown here at the end. So yeah, we went up 2%, okay, that's good. And morning meal, for the QSR, yeah, there's been some growth. We haven't seen it in our stores. We haven't seen it in our category for Subway. We're struggling a bit, trying to crack the code on morning meal, right? And where we really live is lunch is our biggest day part. That's suffering. Suppers is the biggest day part. We're suffering there. Second biggest. Okay, some challenges, right? So let's take a look at Crest. And these are total points of distribution, okay? You build more stores, your numbers go up. All right. So we got Jimmy John's up here, and they've got a plus 17. You're like, whoa, what's happening there? But about 14% of that, new stores on the ground. Okay? So, even so, hey, 14% new stores, that's a threat. Okay? So I'm really thinking that through. And then I'm looking at the rest of this deal. This is January. We're doing January. So we had a nice month, a plus 7 in there. Okay? That's good. I'm happy. But the only guys who are building stores on this chart are Subway, Dunkin' Donuts, Jimmy John's. The rest of the guys really aren't. The category was a plus 1. And I kind of step back and I look at this thing for a second and I think, where is all the traffic going? These are all negative traffic numbers. And let me look at February. So here's what's going on here. So the headline says, our February ending, we were rolling that over, and so we had traffic decline because of it. So yeah, traffic was off 5, check was up, traffic was off 7, check was up 5, total sales off 3. Not so much fun there. Here's the guys at McDonald's. The month before they were off 8. Here they're off 6. I mean, that is an unsustainable kind of month by month, right? Heads are going to roll in Oak Brook is about all I can say. And, still, look at this chart again. Where is the traffic going? Where is the traffic going? And if you guys have seen this presentation, I've seen parts of it when I do FACT board meetings. I talk about, hey, where we're getting hit on two sides. I think the upper scale grocery stores, and that could be these guys as kind of mid-level as Hy-Vee, or it could be the guys like Byerly's. They're going out there with concepts where a tremendous amount of food ready to eat, home meal replacement. I think they hit us at dinner quite a bit. Here in Wayzata, Byerly's has opened up a grocerant. So it's all their deli section, it's all their salad bar, it's all their soup, all that in 10,000 square feet, which is very small for a grocery. And it has none of the grocery back of the house. And they've got a full service Byerly's about 4 blocks up the road. This is also happening in Milwaukee. There's a chain in Chicago called Mariano's doing the same kind of thing. So they're hitting us on that side. And the other guys who are really hitting us are the C-store guys. So for us, that's Quick Trip, that's Holiday, that's Little Store, those kind of guys, Super America. And they go in there, I think they're best in class in terms of beverages, which we think is a really important part of our business. I think they're best in class. So we're getting hit on two sides, okay? And I think everybody in QSR is getting hit with a lot of those guys out there. So something to think about. I think it's hitting the radar screen for the folks back in Milford. But if that's something you want to bring up on a multi-unit call, feel free. So let's talk about what's happening. I've got a Crest update for you. Now, this is October, November, December kind of data. It's the most recent one we have, but still I think it's relevant. We'll talk about some more recent data. And then we're taking a look out here and saying, okay, the headline, Subway traffic decline driven by adult-only parties. And adult-only parties decline at QSR as well. Okay, so here's QSR. Here's adult-only. Yeah, that's off. Parties with kids was up a bit. Then we look at Subway specifically, and like, we're losing traffic here. This is really challenging. But then I look at parties with kids, and I'm flat here, but I'm rolling over a plus 13. And these numbers tell me that our relationship with Disney is paying some real dividends and people coming through the door. We've got some other things we've got to fix, but I think that's a good first step, getting in there with those guys. The Disney's guys, tons of really strong properties in terms of they bring on Pixar, they bring on their cable channel, they bring on their movies. So really tough, really good partnership there, and I'm looking forward for more good things. They're asking us for some more money. We're trying to negotiate with them. I think it's a good deal for them. I know they're happy, I know we're happy, okay? All right, so let's talk about beverages. I think beverages are really pretty important for us. Big part of our business, good margin still. All right, so let them out here, and I've showed you guys this chart before, but let's get over the basics for a second. So this line over here, menu importance, it's kind of like a rough benchmark of mix. Now this is for the whole QSR, this is not for Subway, it's the whole QSR. And what do we got out here? So we look out here, what's the headline? Hey, most beverages increased while diet carbonated soft drinks took a hit. So you talk to people under 30 years old, aspartame is bad. That's the sweetener that's in most diet sodas. Sugar's bad. Carbonation is bad. So how's it affecting us, okay? So you see that these guys, diet carbonated soft drinks, they're 7.5% mix, and they're off by 8%. That's a headline number. Our friends from Coke are like trying to figure this out. They've got to have some more alternatives out there. And so we're trying to figure out, like, where's some of it going? Well, interestingly enough, hey, here's 77 million servings lost in diet soft drinks. Here's 74 million picked up in water. I wouldn't say it's a one-to-one trade-off, but they're going to different places. So we've got to figure out how to have more options for our consumers, because if we don't, they're going to go and buy a sandwich from us and go to the C-store, Quick Trip, or whatever down the street to have that huge selection of beverage options that are out there, okay? All right. So Subway's some key competitors. Let's talk about what's happening with us. So here's a chart, and I looked at these with quite a bit. Here's a chart. Here's kind of the headline numbers up here. You know, Starbucks, Panera, Dunkin' posted stronger dollar growth. Subway saw $1% growth in the quarter. Okay. So you're looking at it, and the guys who are building stores, that's Panera Bread. They've got some benefit of new stores. Dunkin's got benefit of new stores. And Subway's got new stores. So really, we should be a +2 or 3 that's in there, but we're a +1, so we know our same-store sales are down. And it's not like we woke up one day and said, hey, it's 2013, let's be slow, dirty, and mean. That wasn't our goal. I think the thing that's happening is our competitors are being a new benchmark of comparison to our stores, okay? You know, our old stores used to be okay, and our kids with their heads down used to be okay. It's not okay when they've gone and tried the new Panera down the road. And the kids seem pretty happy to be there. They feel comfortable in that interior. And they go into the Chipotle down the road. They feel good about that. So it's not like we got bad one day as much as our competitors raised the bar on them. So today you're going to have some more discussions about how you guys are going to go out there and try to raise the bar further yourselves in terms of customer service, okay? All right. So looking at QSR traffic share, the headline, Starbucks, Dunkin', Wendy's, Panera, Chipotle, Jimmy John's, increased share, we were flat, okay? So they're trying to say, like, well, we were flat, it's not that big of a deal. But we're going to look at a few more slides a little bit down the road, and you'll see it is a big deal, okay? All right, here's our graph. And you see here, you know, we were like all fat and happy, everything's good in 11. In 2012, we took some price increases driven by the folks in Milford, not by you guys. And, you know, still, we felt like, oh yeah, things are okay. And then we drifted down. We were already on our way down, and we continue to be down here in 13. So challenging numbers there, and we're challenged here in 14, okay? All right. So this is a slide, I think a really important slide. Here's the headline. Somebody else writes the headline. Subway's QSR traffic share remained flat, similar to Subway's QSR dollar share, okay? And so this is a little funky kind of a chart because they're going back year by year. So this is October, November, December, 13, 12, 11, and so on, okay? So they're out there and they're saying, okay, yeah, you're flat. Move along, move along. Nothing to see here, folks. Move along. I totally disagree, okay? To me, I look at this. This is a very cautionary number to me, because I'm building new stores, I've been building new stores these past 2 years, and I'm not picking up any more share. That is a situation that cannot continue longer term. We've got to figure out how to get more share, get more folks coming through our door, having a better experience, okay? So a really important slide for me today. All right, here's our friends at McDonald's, and this chart looks strangely familiar, right? Because it looks a lot like Subway's chart, because these guys came along, and through this whole economic downturn and slow recovery, it's been Subway and McDonald's top of the chart. Those are the guys who've been best in class, right? So we get in here, you look at this chart, and yeah, they thought they were nice and everything's good. They're taking price increases in here also. They felt like we're doing it with impunity. Oh yeah, we can do this. People like us, no problem. But it looks like the folks started to vote with their feet come 2013. and things got weaker from there. And you'll see further on, things are weak with those guys. Now, it's not like a one-to-one correction. I think they also got lost and they added too many things to their system, kind of got out of control in terms of operations, but I think it's part of the system. And then take a look here. McDonald's traffic decline continued. The strongest dating back to before 2006. So yeah, we've got a pattern of declining traffic. Okay, we'll look at some more details on that. Here's our friends at Burger King. And these guys, I think they're on track because they've changed their positioning. So now they are, hey, we're everything that McDonald's has, and we've got plain broiling. And they want to welcome the whole family. They've got an interesting CEO. He's a 100-unit CEO of a franchise organization, so I think he's a pretty bright guy. He's got some money from private equity behind him, so I think they're heading in the right direction there. We'll see what that does for them. I've seen some of the remodeled stores. I think they're trying to take their game up a bit. We'll see how it works out for them. Okay? Here's the guys at Wendy's. And these guys, the headline up here is, hey, Wendy's traffic grew, posting gains for the third consecutive quarter, and their best month was October as part of that quarter. Okay. So it looks like they're getting a little bit on track. I used to work for these guys. And 15 years ago, there was a guy, and he was the senior vice president of strategy. And he would come up with these wacky ideas, and I'm like, hey, where are you getting this stuff? He's like, oh, I read Grocery Trade magazines. 15 years ago, he's reading Grocery, and he's thinking, hey, I don't want to go where the puck is, I want to go where the puck's going to be. I think this guy is pretty bright. So he took about a 5-year exile to the Young Group. So now he's back, and that guy's the CEO of the group. Okay, so he came back, his name's Emil Brolick, great guy. We'll see what's happening with them. They've done a couple different things. They've got some of their mojo back with, hey, let's do some different carriers. They own the company that makes their buns, so that can help them a little bit vertical integration that way. So pretzel roll, brioche, ciabatta. I see in this market, you guys see they're running pulled pork. That's a test. That's a local test for those guys. One, just a pulled pork sandwich, but also pulled pork on top as a topping on your hamburger. I don't know how that's going to go, but they're trying it. All right, here's our friends at Arby's. Kind of a head scratcher out here. The thing that I like to point out is, here's where they took their shots at us, right? Slicing up the truth about freshness, and what were the results? Negative sales, negative sales, negative sales. So they're rolling over some stuff. So they took a shot at us. I don't think that got any traction. You mean slicing here, slicing there. You know, I don't think that really worked for them. We'll see what happens with those guys. Here's our friends at Taco Bell. We talked a little bit about some of these graphs and where they're going. They got some real nice bump back here where they came out with their Doritos, Locos, Tacos. And they kicked that off, and they're going that direction. And this chart looks different than a lot of the other charts. And yeah, you know what? That was a good thing. They've done some refreshes on it, but it's starting to trend down here a little bit. And then they roll out breakfast. And they've been trying, hey, you've been working on breakfast back here if you're going to do a national rollout here, right? So I think these guys are an example of some guys, really playing chess, while some of the other competitors are playing checkers. And so I think these guys are pretty bright, okay? All right, here's my friends at Quiznos, right? I put this one on here because, hey, make you feel better about yourselves. Hey, we're killing these guys. It's good. I love competition. I hate the other competitors. Here's the thing. I don't have slides on Firehouse. I don't have slides on Which. I don't have slides on Jersey Mike's. But those guys are out there, and they're also having a factor. So when the Quiznos pulls out, one of those other guys take their spot. So yeah, we're getting these guys on their way out, and these other guys are filling the back, okay? So it's not a whole super rosy story for us, right? Here's Panera Bread, super tough competitor. I think they do a nice job with their loyalty program. I think their kids seem happy to be there. I don't know exactly what kind of voodoo they're doing for that, but they seem happy to be there. I think it's really important, okay? All right, here's our guys at KFC, right? And we don't know what KFC stands for. These are really lousy charts, but I think it stands for can't frickin' change. Because you're going to look at the next slide. You're going to look at the next slide, and I swear to God, I got to change my cartridge on my red cartridge on my laser printer when I go and print this thing out, okay? I mean, where's the bottom, okay? Their CEO's a guy named David Novak, so I know him too. And, real interesting guy, and I don't think he cares about the U.S. I mean, he makes his money in mainland China, okay? I mean, walking around Saigon, you're looking for something like familiar, there's a KFC. You're walking around Dubai, here's a KFC. I mean, they're everywhere in the world, but they are terrible in the U.S., okay? It doesn't really help us, but that's what's out there. So here's the guys, from guys really stumbling, the guys really got their game together. Here's Dunkin' Donuts, okay? So these guys are pushing in a big way into sandwiches, into snack. I also cover Chicago, and these guys are a super tough competitor for us down there, okay? So up here in the Twin Cities, you got like garlic to keep away the vampires. Do we have caribou to keep away Dunkin'? I don't know. But these guys are going to come up here, and they're going to try it. We'll see what it does. They're a tough competitor, tough R&D. Boy, what makes me frustrated, we talked about earlier today, is that these guys do a ton of different LTOs, they do a ton of different programs, and they seem to be able to execute it. And they've got the same franchise group as we do. Why can these guys execute better than we can? And I'm trying to figure that one out. It's a really important question that we've got to figure out as a system. And that's more of a Milford question than a question for you guys in this room, okay? All right, here's our friends at Starbucks. I think a super tough competitor from these guys. You know, they're pushing away from just being, hey, we're coffee. They're into grocery stores. They have other alternatives. They've got the K-Cups, all that kind of stuff. And the number one consumed beverage in the world is water. What's the number two consumed beverage in the world? Anybody know? Tea. Tea. Mainland China, right? You got India, that whole continent, that subcontinent, that's it. And they're pushing into it. So tough competitor that way, okay? All right. Here's our friends at Jimmy John's. So John Wesselhoff did a really nice job. We're going to look at the slides here, but they did a really nice job of what Jimmy John's is doing in the North Central and some comparisons for it. These are all national numbers, and that's kind of interesting, but the stuff that John put together for the North Central is really great stuff. I'm really happy to see it. So looking out here overall, yeah, they're at about 14 units, and these double process mean plus 20. So you just take these numbers and minus 14, you get a feel for it. So yeah, you know what, their same-store sales is positive. They got lots of white space. They're doing a national build-out. As you go from a regional to a national, it's a real good, long runway of good growth, good profits. It's a positive cycle that happens there, okay? And then take a look at the number of units. You know, we've had some challenges. They continue to grow quite briskly. They've got an internal facility for loans, so they've got a capital slush fund, if you will. Oh, I want to open another store. Okay, here's how you sign up for the dollars. Okay. And here's our friends at Chipotle. So really tough grab from these guys. And, you know, yeah, it's a different category than us, right? Fast casual, Mexican, yeah. You know, you get the same kind of experience as you go down with a burrito artist, if you will. But different happening there. So look at this really strong chart. Now, they're in a national build-out also. But the article I read yesterday in the Wall Street Journal said, hey, they also announced we're going to do a price increase at Chipotle. Now, they've got avocado, they've got a lot of pressure on some commodities. And then after we're going to do a price increase, our first in 3 years, okay? Can we say it's our first in 3 years? I don't think so. We've been more aggressive on that. McDonald's is more aggressive, and our charts have looked a little different. Now, that's not the only reason for their success, okay? But maybe it's part of the soup that we've got to think through. All right, here's their units going on out there. Yeah, good, strong growth. Both these guys, 1,500 units, and their value is quite large, $1 million plus, right? Okay? So then take a look at our question here. It's like, hey, what gets our momentum back in the face of heavy competitive pressure? Indulgent LTOs? Well, that's something the North Central has always done. Okay, that makes some sense to me. Advertise premium and above subs. Okay, yeah, we've done some of that. Yeah, okay. Improved in-store experience. Hey, I think you guys are going to talk more about that today. John Clark's got a presentation for you guys on that. I think that's good. Evolve ad messaging to address core attributes. Okay, yeah, I'm going to talk to you guys about that later. Okay, good. All of the above? Yeah, I think so. So we're going to spend the rest of the day really talking about all the above. So I'm trying to paint a picture for you guys that, hey, we've got some challenges out there. We're going to talk about some ways we're going to work on it, okay? All right. So let's go out there, and we're going to talk about North Central at this point.